Thank you, Captain Lancet. Thank you to the FJCLA for your support. Since year one, we're going to, this is year 6 in this panel. FJCLA stepped up in trust of a crazy idea 6 years ago and made it impossible. But before we get started into the meat and potatoes of this presentation portion, I'd like to take a minute to thank our sponsors, athletes, volunteers. Because trust me, once we get started with the real talk, the atmosphere here is going to change. To our volunteers, we have volunteers that have stepped up to help out in a wide range of involvement. Some here for a few hours to cover jobs needed during the event. Others have jumped in with both feet with hundreds of hours of time spent pouring into the mission of this foundation. They have invested time and sacrificed so much to bring this event to you. To each of our volunteers, hear me as I offer you the most sincere thank you I can muster up. Thank you. To our athletes that have to break through some of the most unimaginable things this weekend, you are an inspiration to me and so many others. We have folks here who have not slept in 3 days. They have pushed through physical and mental barriers that video is typically avoid. To everyone that came to carry weight, whether it was 2 hours, 42 hours, thank you. To our sponsors. The sponsors you see listed around this arena boost the effectiveness of fundraising efforts here. The event is very costly, and without their assistance, it would not be possible. And if we're being honest here, this picture does not make good business sense. You can ask my wife. But when it comes to honoring those who have laid their lives down to help pave the way for a better tomorrow, we do what's needed to preserve their memories, celebrate their life, and take care of the loved ones they have left behind. In that, they have stepped up to help us raise the funds to fill the gap. So for those businesses listed as sponsors, please go see them, support them. Supporting them supports the efforts here. This year, we have our first ever listed presenting sponsor, American Valor Realty. They took a leap of faith as someone who is not a businessman, not a guru by any means. They believe in supporting the community, supporting veterans, supporting the mission of the Watch Foundation. They stepped up as monetary sponsors, participants, and volunteers. They jumped in with both feet and made a big splash. With that said, I would like to introduce to you Samuel Lund for a few words. Thanks, Caleb.
All right, I'm confined in the box. All right, so I just want to say thanks for having us out. The police and our men and women of uniform, they are supporting the backbone of our community. They get kind of a bad word, and it's a little bit hard to recognize sometimes what they do for us. But I know that my brother's a police officer, older brother was a corrections officer. So when we call 911, we expect them to show up. So when they didn't get to come home, we're happy to be able to show up for them today. So.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you again for your support. Okay, so if you haven't been listening, listen up. The topics and messages you are about to hear to change your life. Here's where we meet uncomfortable truths and those hard to swallow pills. If you want to get the most out of this event, these presentations, you need to be man or woman enough to stare nakedly at your inadequacies to be prepared to address them. After giving last year's presentation, I was hit with the simple realization that memorial services aren't actually for the dead, they're for the living. These officers are in a much better place enjoying the blessings that are promised to peacemakers. After this revelation, the path for this year's presentation was blend clear as day. So here with me, I have Renee Hamilton, spouse of fallen Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office Deputy Corporal Ray Hamilton. And she will speak to the families of both fallen officers and to those whose spouses are still serving today. You will also hear from Brian Kramer, retired Marine Corps Scout Sniper, who will speak to the officers about training and preparation based on his combat experience and body. But for now, you have me to explain this year's artwork that you've seen coming up over there, and it's titled The Training. The reason I felt the need to explain this was, quite frankly, some of the misunderstandings that have come up around it during my time of development. This message in artwork isn't about hopelessness or abandonment. It isn't not all those officers that have been hurt or killed, trying to say that they failed because they didn't possess certain qualities and traits. This is about combating apathy and complacency, operating and training with laser focus so that you can conquer any challenge. This is about motivation towards the refinement of two main components of a warrior, and that's skill set and mindset. Skill set. After my time as an FTO here at Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office, I ended up at the conclusion that all law enforcement training can be dropped into four main categories: academics, physical fitness, firearms proficiency, and defensive tactics. Academics. Study to know your laws, legal guidelines, and what you can and can't do. Not knowing these rules will cause a hesitation when it's time to act. That hesitation may be just the moment the bad guy was looking for to get his punch. Now you're stunned, lay on your back, fighting for your life. It's more than just being smart. It's about being ready. Physical fitness, being physically fit for duty and able to handle a fight and stress. Firearms proficiency, putting rounds on target to stop the threat. And lastly, defensive tactics, being capable to quickly detain and prevent escalations. All of these build on each other and support one another. You can't just hang your hat on one and call it good. Guard yourself against unforced errors. Unforced errors. There's the mistakes that are attributed to one's own failures rather than to the skill or effort of one's opponent. In short, you're your own worst enemy. If they're going to outdo you, make sure that they had to put in the hours of work in order to take you down. Now, I'm not blind to the fact that sometimes things happen outside of our control, acts of God, all what they are. And there's a sense of freedom in knowing that there's nothing you or I can do about it. But for those things that you can control, be in charge of those things. Mindset. The mindset is found in the Bader statement. Save yourself. No one is coming. Your training, your study is all on you. No one is coming to study the legal guidelines for you. No one is coming to lift those weights, run those laps for you so you can be fit for duty. No one is coming to train DT or practice reloads for you. You must save yourself. Training with the mindset that you must be prepared as though no one is coming. Because unlike the training mat, you can't tap out and reset on the street. The street fight is won in the hours on the training mat. Late night runs after shift, and time spent in the gym preparing yourself with the skill and ability to overcome. The design of the memento mori, the skeletons in uniform, the theme is a reminder of our mortality. The design is a playing card because many of you are playing with your lives. And to put it frankly, you're gambling with the cards of laziness and apathy, and that is a losing bet. Most people really don't know what they are capable of because they've never stretched themselves to their limits. They've never trained with a dedicated and focused mindset. They've never pushed their physical and mental boundaries. They don't know what uncomfortable feels like. And for you, I fear the day that you meet someone on the street that is willing to take you to your limits. Your frame of reference of pain and discomfort is so far from what you are actually capable of. When your muscles are burning, you're out of breath, can't think straight, your hands are shaking. You're going to say in that moment, this is what the end feels like. You're going to give up. You had more fighting. So, by now we've all had some level of self-reflection, and we've faced the truths of our own inheritance. What are you going to do about it? It's not easy. It's hard changing your life. You don't just wake up one day, be who you want to be. You have to work at it. You have to find people to attach yourself to. You have to find people to attach yourself to who are showing discipline in their daily life. Align yourself with people who want more, who challenge themselves every day. Beware of the average person. They are the clutches of mediocrity. They don't understand dedication, and they will not understand the terms of which you are reinventing yourself to. And in that idiocy, they will endeavor to tear you down. Speaking of those who tear others down, who here can think of an officer that's been verbally abusive to another officer? Who here has witnessed an officer or leader treat their shift mates or subordinates poorly? If you're listening to this message, know that everyone in this arena is thinking of you. They have identified you in their mind, and they are mentally playing back that instance in their head. You are now the center of attention. And let me tell you who you are. You Monday morning quarterback everyone. You backbite, you stir the pot. You don't like who you see in the mirror, and you try to make others look just as bad as you see yourself. You come to work and you step on others who don't meet your self-image. You beat others down and you look for approval in others because you lack self-confidence. And maybe your whole life is tore up. Maybe you don't know how to express your pain and anger from past trauma. I know who you are because you come to work looking for fulfillment at the expense of your shift mates. You don't have self-worth, you don't have self-value because you look for others who are investing in themselves and try to steal it from them. But here's the good news. You don't have to live in that cycle of pain. You're born to be better. You were born to lift others up, to guide those coming behind you. You were born to leave your mark, but the mark you've been leaving lately isn't it. Just as that flag says over there, you can walk into this arena into liability, and you can walk out as it. Did you know that according to 2020 census numbers of the U.S. population, only 0.24% of law enforcement, only 0.24% of that population are sworn law enforcement. Only 0.25%. That is a fraction of a percent. Do you not see that you are an uncommon breed? There's a reason people take other paths. This road is hard. You've already shown grit and stepped into the scary unknown to take the next step. You were made to be here, you were made to rise to the top, and you were made to achieve greatness. You weren't made to be a victim, but you were made with a dream that only you can produce. And I do not believe that any of your strengths and dreams were made within you just to die with you unexplored. Ignore those who want to tell you it is impossible. It isn't their job to believe in your mission. It wasn't their mission to begin with. You will fail, you will trip, you will fall, you will get back up. It doesn't matter if it looks like a losing game or a losing fight. You fight into the bitter and bloody end. You fight to get your family back. You fight to get your relationships back. You fight against that cancer. You fight till the last 10 seconds. You fight to win the fight in the street all the way up till the end. Do not give up. Do not give in. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage against the dying of the light. Your legacy depends on it. That, I'd like to take this time to introduce Renee Hitt.